Well, thank you all for coming. I'm terribly sorry about the delay, but thank you for waiting. Thank you for your patience. We've got just some business to attend to briefly with the meeting. So, opening the meeting, and can I ask to approve the meeting, the minutes of the previous meeting from last time?
Yes, Chairman.
That's approved. Thank you. No apologies for absence. Are there any declarations of interest? No declarations of interest. So now we are going to look at these premises licence application under the Licensing Act 2003. I'm Councillor Gale, chairing this committee. To my right is Councillor Binder, and to his right is Councillor Weston. So we're going to be hearing this application. To my left is our legal advisor, Jodie Edwards, and then the licensing officers, Sally MacDonald and Kim Knight. Kaylee Johnson is kindly officiating at the screen and the recording. So if I could first ask you all to introduce yourselves, for the applicants first.
Certainly, thank you, Chair. My name's Rob Edge. I'm a licensing agent acting on behalf of the applicant.
Thank you.
I'm Ryan Smith, I'm the applicant and owner of Berkhamsted Golf Range.
Hello, I'm Bridget Hancock, and I'm the Estates Coordinator for the Hospice of St Francis.
Thank you, Ms Hancock. Yes. Public participation. There's public part. Do I have to formally announce public participation?
Just to remind them.
Yes, this meeting is being recorded, and it is public. I'd like to ask whether all the members of the subcommittee have read the papers before them.
Yes, Chair.
Yes. Now, I'm going to ask somebody from the applicant to make the application, and then Ms Hancock, I don't see any reason why if you have anything, I know you haven't, you're not planning to say, but if you have anything to say, then we would be interested to hear. Well, if you have anything, don't feel that you wouldn't be allowed to speak. I think that being the case, we'll hear the application, and then we'll consider the arguments, and then we'll. Oh, sorry, yes. Okay, I didn't realise. So Kim Knight is going to present the application. Thank you.
Thank you. You have before you an application for the grant of a new premises licence for Berkhamsted Golf Range, Spring Garden Lane, Berkhamsted, Hertfordshire, HP4 3PY. An amendment to this application was received on the 13th of January 2025, following discussions between the applicant's agent and the police. The application, as amended, seeks authorisation to sell alcohol for consumption on the premises between 11 AM and 10 PM, Monday to Sunday. The amended opening hours are 7 AM until 10:30 PM. The application is set out in the report pack on pages 7 to 49. Following withdrawal of 5 representations following amendment, the remaining 8 representations are set out in annexes E1 to E8. The applicant and those persons who made the representations have been invited to attend today's meeting to address the committee, and the details of those speaking and their submissions have been forwarded to members ahead of the meeting. The applicant's agent has also requested that supporting documents have been circulated to all parties in respect of the application, and these have been circulated to all parties. The options available to the committee today are set out at paragraph 4.1 of the introductory section of the report on pages 9 and 10 of the bundle. The committee are reminded that the application must be considered on its own merits, and that any steps taken must be considered appropriate in order to promote one or more of the licensing objectives, and that full and clear reasons should be given to explain why the decision was reached. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we've considered the objections, and I'd like to invite the applicant to make some representations, bearing in mind the objections.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Through you, Chair. Acting on behalf.
I've just received some annexes, which I think, I'm not sure when they came through, but have you seen these?
Circulated the week before last.
I saw them on, I think I saw them online. I think.
Right, okay. They weren't on the site, but I've seen them now. Okay.
There's a spare packet, Councillor Brinder's like to have a look.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Sorry, can I just
That's
clarify?
fine.
The annex is what?
Yes, this,
Oh, my supporting.
yes, under 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so acting on behalf of the premises licence holder, we have given full consideration to the representations submitted as objections to the application. The council's statement of licensing policy, the licensing objectives as set out in the Licensing Act 2003, and the Home Office guidance issued under section 182 of the Licensing Act. Having listened to the objections from local residents and also held a site meeting with the police licensing team, we now believe that the application is much more suitable and should allay everyone's concerns. The Golf Range is a family-owned business that is being reopened following a long period of closure and a full refurbishment. The applicant has invested a large sum of money into the site for its refurbishment and has a cafe space for patrons to sit and enjoy food and drink whilst watching other golfers. The range has a very large car park for in excess of 80 cars, which is situated on private land. It will employ local people for both maintenance of the drive range, to work in the cafe, and as coaches and instructors for local golfers, making it an asset to the local community. Our aim is to demonstrate that this application aligns with the licensing objectives, contributes positively to the local community, and ensures a safe, enjoyable and responsibly managed environment for all. Notably, the revised proposed operating hours are now considered very reasonable, and it's important to note that no objections have been raised by any of the responsible authorities, of which they are your expert advisors on such matters. This, we believe, demonstrates their belief that this is a good, strong, robust operating schedule and a valid application. We acknowledge the importance of adhering to the licensing objectives as set out by the Licensing Act 2003. As I say, it's a very robust operating schedule to ensure the activities are conducted responsibly and professionally. Staff will receive full training in the Licensing Act by the premises licence holder, who has recently attended and passed his personal licence holder's course. Noise levels will be carefully monitored to ensure minimal disturbance to neighbouring properties, and a noise management plan will be implemented to conduct these activities. Visitors will be encouraged to use the designated parking facilities, and we will work to prevent traffic congestion through effective signage and communication with patrons. That concludes my part, and with your consent, Chair, I'd like Mr. Smith just to say a few words as the owner and applicant of the golf range.
Yes, that would be fine. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, all. As Mr. Edge already mentioned, Berkhamsted Golf Range is and has been for a number of years a family business, to the point, actually, that my parents that acquired the land nearly 4 decades ago, and subsequently there was a premises there, which was a country club, which had live music events and alcohol licence for 9 years with zero disruption or complaints ever kind of made against it. That business no longer remains. The golf range has existed since its inception, in the aforementioned, and is now come to a point in my life where I'm a golfer. I'm an ex-professional golfer. I'm an avid golfer, And after 15 years in a slightly more corporate world, you know, I guess I really wanted to bring something back to Berkhamsted and surrounding towns, something I'm passionate about as an individual. Yes, something that during its closure was actually missed by, you know, the people of Berkhamsted and neighbouring towns. So, you know, my intentions are to run and operate a golf range first and foremost. This is not a stand-up drinking venue. My intentions for it to be that, or could consider something of that nature, but with a vision that straddles both, you know, direct to sort of B2C and B2B. I think that by having the ability to serve alcohol, we can offer a lot more back to the local community, whether that's team days, so on and so forth. We also sold the land to the hospice, where the fabulous estate now stands. We have always been good neighbours of the hospice, and our intention is for that to remain indefinitely too. I have a great respect for the hospice. 3 of my family members unfortunately passed away under their amazing care. We allow the hospice to use our car park for overflow when they have fundraising events, when they're selling Christmas trees, when they're having open days. So it's always been a very harmonious partnership, and one that we hope to remain. And thank you for the cakes at Christmas. That's all I have to say for now. Thank you for listening.
Are there any questions of the applicant?
I do have one.
Councillor Binder?
Noise monitoring and noise management. Can you elaborate, please?
Yeah. Very difficult noise monitoring, even, you know, for environmental health, because it's very subjective. But essentially, the noise management plan lays down that a member of staff or the applicant himself will, on a regular basis, go to what's referred to as the nearest noise receptor. So he would walk through the car park, across the drive, to what is the main entrance that you go in to drive into the grounds of the hospice. That's logged on a sheet within the noise monitoring plan. And essentially what they would do is go there at specific times. So just for example, 8 p.m. in the evening, stand there and allow that if there's traffic, for the traffic to lapse, and just literally, can I hear music? Can I hear voices from, for instance, people in a smoking area, etc. And then return to the premises and take the remedial action. So that might just be turn the music down by 1 notch, go back out to the same location and see the impact that has. And it's, for the want of a better phrase, it's very much a suck it and see, particularly with a venue that hasn't been open for a long time and is a new structure. You don't know what the noise breakout is. But there is a condition within the operating schedule that says, for the cafe, for instance, whenever music is being played, windows and doors will remain closed except for access and egress. I've spoken with Ryan about this and said, you know, it is very subjective, but what it's worth doing, and he's going to do this, should the licence be granted, a week before they'll do trials and say, right, you know, we're not actually open, but let's put the music on and see what effect that has. And that will give them a level on the, essentially on the volume switch of the radio or whatever it is, to say, right, actually number 5 is about right, and anything above that you can then hear at the nearest receptor point.
Anything else? Yes.
Sorry to disagree, but it's not subjective. I think what you're saying is
I have a question.
It's up to you whether or not you can hear something. So you haven't got any scientific equipment, a noise, dB meter or anything like that.
No.
That's the first question. The second question is...
You're asking to confirm that they haven't got it.
Indeed. So basically, it's just done with human ears, okay? That's why you're saying it's subjective, but noise monitoring is not subjective. The second question I have, do residents have a simple and easy method of contacting the establishment in the event that there is a disturbance?
Yes. Yeah. So, going to the first one first. Again, very difficult with, for instance, a decibel noise machine. I could go on now and buy 5 from Amazon. You don't know whether they're calibrated correctly unless you're an acoustician or a noise expert. Because within the legislation, and environmental health struggle with it, within the legislation there isn't a set decibel level for noise from licensed premises. It has to be a common sense approach. And I'm sure your legal will tell you, the section 182 guidance says, for things such as a noise limiting device, which is normally installed into large city centre nightclubs that are surrounded by residential properties, then any other form of acoustics or noise limiting device should not be imposed on a premises because of the financial implications. And that's really why I'm saying, this has to be a common sense approach where, Ryan goes out, listens to the noise and adjusts it accordingly. He could, in theory, buy one of these handheld gadgets. They're about 25 quid. And it'll do a decibel reading, but it will never stand up. It couldn't be used if the premises was called for a review. It couldn't be used to say, but we were taking readings and they read at 72 decibels, because it wouldn't stand up as evidence because he's not a qualified acoustician.
If I may add to that.
Yeah. Well, hang on. We obviously the panel will form its own opinion, but if we can just make sure that we ask questions, rather than express opinions for now. Mr. Smith, were you going to add something?
Yeah, just to say again, with obviously having golf coaches teaching on the range, the idea of loud music whilst you're delivering and consuming information that you're paying a service for don't go hand in hand. Your coach leaning into it, shouting over music. So second to that, my parents live 70 yards from the range, maybe less. They're nearing their 70s. The idea of loud music throughout the day, over above kind of background music isn't going to be their preference. I'm sure the first people to be knocking on the door would be them saying, that's a little loud. So, and just, yes, there is a point of contact, my name and number are readily available. There will be a contact number for the golf range. The golf range will be my full-time job. So I'm not opening it to then have it let out and be managed by others. So I'd like to give all reassurances that contact is readily available, and given it's a golf range, there are reasons why music would only ever be played to a certain decibel.
Are there any more questions from the committee? Yes, Councillor
I was
West.
going to ask, and you've just answered one of them. The question I was going to ask is how near are the residents to the golf range? You just said that your parents have, did you say 70 yards or something there? How near?
I understand there's a map, isn't there? Perhaps we could refer to. If we could have the page reference for the map, that might help.
Page 37.
Thank you. Page 37. Have you got the map? Has everybody got a copy of that?
Yeah, I don't know that it truly. Sorry, what page was it?
37.
Yeah, it doesn't really give you. Does it?
I mean,
Well, I can see on the map there's the golf range, and there are the buildings. I can see there's a hospice next to it.
Yeah.
I can see where the town is on the left. You can't see what's to what's to the, if this is north, you can't see what's immediately to the east. I can see there's a few settlements on a road
Yeah,
whose name I
not
can't
that.
see. But you can look at, I mean, I can see the map. Is there anything
No, I mean, I've been to the site on 3 occasions. In fact, I drove there again last night just because it's quite a time since I last visited. I mean, the nearest premises residence to it is the hospice,
Yeah.
which is probably, I don't know, ballpark, 800, 900 metres. But that's 800 to 900 metres to the entrance of the drive to the hospice. You've then got to go another 500-600 metres down the drive to the building itself. So I think, in fairness, to answer the question, that the objections and the number of objections were received because the initial application made was for a much later hour and for more frequent events in the marquee.
There were originally 13 objections, I understand.
Yes,
that's gone down to 5. To 8. Yes, to 8.
But, you know, we fully understand that. I think that, you know, given the pared back hours, given the measures that are going to be in place, and it was a very good, constructive meeting with police licensing on site. And part of the conversation, funnily enough, was Ryan's father was there, and he made the point to me, you know, that's my house there. I don't want to listen to whatever he referred it to, reggae banging beats or something, coming from there. And that's when Ryan repeated what he said to you just now. It's not conducive to you know, the coaching and things that go on. But I think, having spoken with
Ms. Hancock.
Bridget downstairs, I think we could probably also fix up a line of communication so that during that week before the official opening, we say to her, right, we're going to play music from this hour to this hour. Tell us what effect it has. Can you hear it? You know, 9 times out of 10, the thing that comes through from music is usually the bass on the music. So depending on the type of music centre, you can actually reduce the bass down so that it doesn't travel as much.
Any follow-up,
No,
Councillor?
no questions, no.
Currently, the situation now is that it's a golf course. Is there a social element to the golf club now? I mean, there's often some sort of. I mean, golf clubs often have bars and things. What I'm trying to get at is what's going to be the difference? Do you anticipate
By having a...
in your activities? Because at the moment it's a golf club.
Golf driving range.
Golf driving range.
Yeah.
And then when...
Didn't have essentially the cafe element, which is very, I mean, how many people can sit in the cafe?
16.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, it's in terms of, if you're thinking of the normal golf club, where inside the building you can fit, you know, 100 people, it's nothing at all like that. It's a very small 16-seat cafe.
Essentially, it's the walk-through lobby to get one access to the range. And what we put in there is a counter, and then somewhere to serve food, beverage.
But what I'm getting at is what do you anticipate will be the difference in clientele, people coming in there, noise levels, before and after the licence, if you get any licence?
Yes, I think the reopening of the golf range is going to drive people back to the golf range. You know,
so it's not working. Nothing's happening there at the moment.
It's been closed for long.
Oh, it's actually. I hadn't appreciated that. I thought it was a golf range, and then you wanted to do. But this is just an opening of a totally new.
This is a
redevelopment
under.
And that's why, with the big refurbishment, there was part of the plan then, right, we'll put a small cafe in, so that whether somebody wants a coffee or whether they want, you know, a sandwich and a beer before or after a training session, there is that ability to do that.
essentially golf range experiences have evolved now. They offer a far more diverse experience to a much wider group of people. Whether that's an in-bay, out-of-bay type experience where people, the idea of sitting and having a sandwich doesn't just exist at a golf club, so to speak.
Are there any more questions, Joe?
Just like say, don't mind elaborating on part of the thing that we've been handed over, whatever that's called, guys. It says here, procedure for responding to and dealing with inquiries, areas of potential noise breakout, etc., air conditioning, and so forth. And is this part of your noise?
It's part of the noise management plan. I mean, the thing about noise management is, you know, if you look at the areas where noise is generated, you know, it's music, it's large numbers of, this would normally be associated to, you know, a public house kind of thing, but, you know, a large number of people standing in a smoking area talking at 11 o'clock, that kind of noise travels. But then there's also things like, you know, extraction units in kitchens that sometimes, unless they have the right level of silencer on the fan, can be a noise nuisance. That's a relatively generic noise management plan. And I would say, in fairness, the golf club doesn't hit many of those because it's so remote outside. It's not, you know, it's not adjacent to another building with residents living, you know, above shops or the like. It's not sort of high street type venue.
Thank you. Is there anything else that we need to?
No, I'm fine. I'm happy.
Ms. Hancock, do you have anything that you'd like to say? Please don't feel you have to, but if you're absolutely invited to.
From the hospice point of view, obviously our initial, the 2 AM licence thing was a worry because of the noise and revellers and things like that, you know, coming past the hospice. The road is not the best, is it, for especially nighttime, night lit traffic coming up and down. So these were all things we were just worried about, but we didn't, you know, half past 10, you know, especially if they're going to, you know, if he's going to keep an eye on the things, then we didn't really have much of an issue with that. It was just literally the late night and the noise pollution that rang alarm bells with us, unfortunately, because it is end of life, it's palliative care, and you know, they don't need to be hearing noise and, as your parents said, boom boom music at that time.
Of course, a license like this is not a license to create a nuisance.
No.
So you still have that protection in any. You still have protection
yes.
from that in any. If it is a nuisance, the license, you know,
Yes,
even
yes.
with a license, they wouldn't be able to disturb too much.
And as we said, we have a good relationship, so I'm sure if, you know, 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night, and there was any problems, we can quite happily approach and say, you know, this is a bit.
Yeah.
But it was, yeah, originally it was the late night one that just rang alarm bells for us.
Thank you. Well, I don't think we need to ask any more questions. I think we will deliberate for a time, and then we'll invite you to come back in when we're ready. Thank you. Well, thank you all very much for waiting, and thank you for coming in. Committees have considered the application and the objections and the submissions from those who are here. We've decided to grant the application based on the amended application, so the shorter opening hours, and we'd remind you that the ordinary laws of nuisance still apply to noise levels in any event. But thank you very much for coming, but that's our decision.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Members.